Hello, viewers. Do you want to fly? Then, Flying Circus might just be what you are looking for. Flying Circus is a tabletop role-playing game made by Erika Chappell that's set on the continent of Himmilgard, a world where humanity invented flight before will because the wilderness is full of magical and dangerous stuff. Still, humanity managed to spread across the entire continent, and eventually decided that a war to end all wars was a good idea. By the end of this great war, all major cities were gassed straight to hell and half of humanity was dead. But people continued to live on, in small rural communities or outskirts of the dead cities. As decades moved on, things are getting better, but the world is still a dangerous place. Wild beasts, bandits, deserters, and tyrants continued to plague the continents, and brave pilots had to take flight in surplus aircraft left over from the war to fight against these threats. You are one of these pilots, joined up in a flying circus. Maybe you will be a hero, maybe you are just looking to earn some quick cash, but either way, you will be the one to write your own story, and fly your own path. Once again, Flying Circus is a role-playing game that's about the fantasy of becoming an ace set in the era of early air combat, where planes are made out of canvas, wood, and steel, and mostly the former too. This game ran on a modified powered by the Apocalypse framework, which when I first heard of this I was like, what's powered by the Apocalypse? Powered by the Apocalypse is basically a game design framework where the characters are given moves to conduct all sorts of actions with be it narrative roleplay or combat, and is generally very free-form. Also, almost all the dice rolls are made by players, so all the successes are the player's triumph, and all the mistakes are players' faults. Truly, the most game master friendly framework ever. Now, let's actually talk about what's inside the book. First, you have to make a character. This is where playbooks come in. Playbooks are basically a character sheet on what your character is about, what moves they have, what asset they start with, and other stuff. Every character playbook has something that only they can do via moves, be it in narrative roleplay or combat. For example, the soldier has a personal move called Last Mistake, in which if you suspect someone that might hurt or betray your group, you can use this on them, and if they do betray your group, you can shoot them dead immediately. In fact, Soldier has 4 moves that involves a gun. Other examples included the Scion, who can throw money at all the problems, the Fisher, who can call out to their very real god, and the Witch, who can use magic, and get ridiculously powerful because of it. It's also possible for a character to teach character of different playbooks their moves temporarily or permanently, and this is in fact encouraged because of how useful it could be. Or you could completely disregard what I just said if you are going for freelancer mode, which allows Flying Circus to be played by the game master and one player only. Yes, it's totally possible to play Flying Circus with just one player, perfect for those that's just a little too lonely. Now I could also tell you about the company mechanic or financial mechanic or other kinda important things, but let's skip all of that first in this video because I'm going to tell you about how you level up in this game. In most role-playing games, you gain experience and level up by murdering everyone. In Flying Circus, you don't. I mean you kinda still earn experience by shooting down planes, but majority of the time, you will be earning experience by being a complete disaster. First, let me tell you about stress. Stress is basically how stressed and under pressure your character is, because it turns out, while flying a plane is fun, great, and breathtaking, it's also incredibly dangerous because flying a motorized kite made out of wood and hope that can be set on fire and turned into Swiss cheese by bullets of any caliber can dramatically shorten the lifespan of any pilot, and pilot usually deal with this by living fast because they most likely will be dying fast. Stress can be gained from different manners depending on your character's playbook, which can include getting shot, killing someone, getting set on fire, or having to conduct the terrible act of social interaction. This is the most realistic role-playing mechanic I have seen in my life. Gain too much stress, and you can't even spend your experience for new moves or masteries. Gain even more stress, and your character will explode and vent their feelings destructively. So, how do you actually gain experience points? By reducing stress, which is done by indulging in your vice. Vice which can include getting drunk, getting bonked, beating the entire bar, or just procrastinate. Once again, this is the most realistic role-playing mechanic I have ever seen. Also, when I meant vice, I don't mean something taken in moderation, no, I mean something that's done for personal gratification to the point of harmful and complete excess. For example, you get completely fucking wasted, you pray in front of an altar for freaking hours, and you take a nap at 3 p.m. only to wake up when the clock points to 1, and it's pitch black out there. Once you indulged in vice, you can reduce your stress and gain 1 experience per stress cleared. To put it shortly, you don't need to intentionally roleplay as a walking disaster, you already are one just to level up. Also, just to make it clear, this book is kinda horny with the frequent mention of sex and—
Look out, Gordon! Hotted boobs up ahead, it takes big ones!
That's not a bad thing at all, but I definitely won't recommend you reading this in public in the same way I don't recommend people play gacha games in public. Now let's talk about something even more interesting, air combat. So, while Flying Circus is a rather freeform game, the air combat system is rather crunchy. To even start air combat, you will need this sheet. This is like the pen and paper version of a Steel Battalion controller, fucking awesome. Anyway, let me explain what's on it. This is the altimeter, to show your current attitude, you put token on the number to determine the value, this is your airspeed indicator for your speed. This is the wet stats, which is used to determine the changing stat of your plane as it slowly run out of fuel because the plane would get lighter. This is dry stats, for the turn bleed, energy loss, visibility, and stability of your plane, these won't change as fuel goes down. This is integrity, basically how tough your plane is. This is safety stats, a stat you only need to know when you have to bail out of your plane, pray you never roll this. This is aircraft notes, which is where all the equipment and weapons in your plane are listed. This is G-force charts, to show you how much G-force stress you are having. This is kill tracker, which is self-explanatory. And this is where you put what you are fighting for. There's also cards for your engines and guns to keep track of both. Now this might look very complicated, but it's actually a lot simpler than flying an actual plane, but then again most things are simpler than flying an actual plane. So, to fly in Flying Circus, all the players need to do is describe what they are doing, and the game masters have to break the description down into separated maneuver moves. For example, I want to dive in, attack, and then pull up, which can be separated into attitude adjustment, to go down in attitude, trading height for speed, open fire, to, well, open fire on the enemy plane, and then attitude adjustment again to go up, trading speed for height. This can be simpler or even more advanced, but there's a narrative cut-off point for each player's turn, which is basically you can't make more than one distinct attack run away from battle and then immediately come back, or try the same thing twice. Also, if you are wondering how one keeps track of everyone's movement, you don't. Everything is kinda in the theater of the mind mode, there's no need for maps or models to keep track of, the location of planes and ground features are loosely defined, things are only relevant when they come up and fade away after they done their part. Basically, in this air combat system, you have the crunchy mechanic of flying an airplane combined with the freeform style of narrative role-playing. Honestly, it just works, and it works very well, especially with the huge variety of planes available to you in Flying Circus. Airplanes in Flying Circus could range from very normal biplane with more guns, a little fantastical, flying death trap, freaking laser beam, and a flying tree. And if you aren't satisfied with your plane, you can modify it at a cost. Don't like machine gun? Get a goddamn cannon. Want to make your gun fire laser beam instead? No problem. Fliegerflammenwerfer? Fliegerflammenwerfer. All this can be done on the online Flying Circus plane builder. Hell, you can even make the plane of your dream, if you can figure out how to use it. Anyway, I hope this video has properly introduced Flying Circus to you, because I'm hoping to make more videos on this fantastic role-playing game book and possibly even upcoming books made by Erika Chappell herself. You can get this book on itch.io or DriveThru RPG, links in the description. Now, with everything done, I will see you all next time. Hello there, if you like this video, please subscribe to my channel and click that notification bell button. If you really want to support my channel, you could visit my Patreon page, or buy me some coffee, links in the description. Anyway, have a nice day.